Hey guys, what's going on? Today we're setting up the DuroMax XP13000EH generator for the very first time. I'm going to walk you through the setup step by step and share a few key tips to make the process easier and help you avoid common mistakes. So, whether you're thinking about getting one or you're setting yours up right now, this video is for you. Let's get started. This is the box it comes in, and the first thing I have to tell you is this thing is heavy. I'm talking around 230 pounds, so make sure you have a helping hand when moving it. Once you open the box, here's what you'll find. Right on top there are two cards with important information, along with a paper explaining how the built-in carbon monoxide detector works. You'll also get the service manual, which covers maintenance and troubleshooting, and the user manual. One thing I really liked is that both manuals are very visual, full of images, which makes them easy to follow. On the side, there's another box with all the remaining accessories. Inside, you'll find the wheels. At first, they might look like air-filled tires, but they're actually solid rubber, so they're maintenance-free and built to handle rough surfaces. You'll also find the two handles we'll be installing, the propane hose to connect your tank to the generator, and a funnel for adding oil. There's a bag with the legs, a couple of basic tools to help with the setup, and finally, all the nuts and bolts we'll need to put everything together. Getting this thing out of the box is definitely a challenge. If you don't have someone to help, you can just tip the box onto its side and slide the generator out that way. It's not the easiest method, but it works. Right out of the box, this thing looks absolutely massive and powerful, and if you're like me, you're probably eager to fire it up right away. But before we do that, there are a couple of important things we need to take care of first. Now, I'm going to start by laying the generator on its left side, when you're looking at it from the front, and we'll begin by installing the legs. There are two positions where you can mount them, but I'm going with the outer holes so it has better stability. For this step, we need the black nuts that come in the hardware bag, and we can use one of the included wrenches to secure them in place. While we have it on its side, I'm also going to remove this red bracket. This piece is only meant for transport, and it's very important that you take it off before using the generator. I've seen some people leave it on, maybe thinking it makes the frame stronger, but here's the thing. The engine on this generator isn't rigidly fixed to the frame. It's mounted on rubber vibration isolators, so it can move slightly when it's running. If you leave this bracket on, it will prevent that movement, put stress on the mounts, and could even damage the generator over time. For this bolt specifically, you'll need a 1/2 inch socket to remove it, and you can use one of the included wrenches on the back to hold the nut in place. The same goes for the other bolt on the bracket. Just repeat the process and it will come right off. And now we can just throw that bracket away. For the next step, we're going to install the wheels. So I'm going to flip the generator over to the other side. I'm doing this now because there's no oil in the engine yet. Once you add oil, you should never lay the generator on its side, because the oil can flow into places it's not supposed to, like the air filter or the combustion chamber. Here, you'll need to find the axle for the wheel. This is the piece we'll be attaching with a nut and one of the small washers. There are two washer sizes in the kit, so make sure you grab the smaller one. First, slide the washer onto the axle, then pass the axle through this opening in the frame. Once it's in place, thread the nut on the end. I'm using a pair of locking pliers to hold it steady and an adjustable wrench to tighten the nut. The kit doesn't include a wrench in this size, so you'll definitely need to have a couple of your own tools handy, since not everything you need is included in the box. Now we will need two of the large washers and this small retaining pin. First, slide one of the large washers onto the axle. Then, place the wheel in position, followed by the second large washer. Once that's in place, insert the retaining pin through the hole at the end of the axle. For the final step, use a pair of pliers to bend the ends of the pin so it locks in place and keeps the wheel secure. We will repeat the same process for the other wheel, and once that's done, we can move on to installing the handles. For the handles, we'll use the last two screws and the two nuts from the kit. They go in this position here, and for this part, I was able to use the wrenches that come included. When tightening, don't overdo it. If you make it too tight, the handles will be harder to move later. I just repeated the same process on the other side, and that's it. Now the generator is fully mobile. It's still a bit heavy, but with the wheels and handles on, It's actually pretty easy to move around. Now the generator is really starting to come together, but we still have a couple of things to do. The battery comes disconnected from the factory for safety, so we'll need to hook it up. For this, you'll need an 8mm socket to remove these 4 screws and take off this side panel, which gives us access to the battery. The side that comes disconnected is the negative terminal. To connect it, you'll need a Phillips screwdriver to remove the screw on the terminal. Before attaching the cable, I'm going to turn off the battery switch to make sure everything is safe. Once the cable is connected, you can flip the switch back on to check if everything is working. If the indicator light comes on, you're good to go. If it doesn't, there might be an issue or the battery could be completely discharged. This generator doesn't come with a charger, but once you start it up, it will automatically recharge the battery while it's running. So I've just put the cover back on, and now it's time to add the oil. This generator comes with no oil in the engine, so before you even think about starting it, you'll need to fill it up. DuroMax doesn't include oil in the package, which I wish they did, because it would make things even easier, so you're free to choose your own. Unless you're running it in extremely cold or extremely hot conditions, a 10W30 will work perfectly. If you are in one of those extreme climates, I'll put the oil recommendation chart on screen so you can see exactly what you'll need. For mine, I'm using this brand, which works great for this generator. The exact oil capacity is 40.5 fluid ounces, which works out to about 1.26 quarts. Since each bottle is 1 quart, I've got 2 here. We start by removing this orange cap to get to the oil fill. You might notice a little bit of oil on it, but that's just from factory testing. They run the engine briefly before shipping, so it can still have some residue. Go ahead and put the funnel in, and now we can pour the oil in. One thing the brand recommends is running the generator for about 8 hours the first time after adding the oil, and then doing your first oil change. This is because during the braking period, tiny metal particles from the new engine parts can mix into the oil, and replacing it after those first hours keeps the engine cleaner and extends its life. I'll show you the full oil change process in my next video so we don't make this one too long. They recommend using conventional oil for the first 8 hours, and after that you can switch to either conventional or synthetic. The one I'm pouring in now is a blend, which works fine for both braking and regular use. After putting in the entire first bottle of oil, I added about a quarter of the second, which brought it right up to the correct level. You should see the oil level sitting just below the edge of the fill hole. Once that's done, I move on to fueling. This generator is a dual fuel model, meaning it can run on either propane or gasoline. For today's demo, I'm sticking with gasoline to keep things simple. It runs on regular unleaded with a minimum octane rating of 87. That's your standard pump gas at most stations. Now we're ready to fire it up. First, head over to the main panel and make sure the main breaker is off, and the idle control is also set to off. Check that the battery switch is on. Then, set the fuel selector to gas since that's what we're using for this start. On the side of the generator, you'll see the choke. It opens to the left and closes to the right. I'll be honest, this threw me off at first because the quick start card showed the opposite, which I'm guessing is for a different model. The easiest way to know for sure is to pop open the air filter cover and check. Once I did, I confirmed that on this unit, left is open and right is closed. If you're doing a cold start, like after it's been sitting for a while, close the choke before starting. Once the engine fires up, it will automatically open. If you've run it recently, you can leave the choke open. Finally, make sure the fuel valve is in the on position, press and hold the start button, and if everything's set correctly, the generator should start right up. So there it is. This beast is up and running and ready to handle some load. If you're thinking about getting one, I'll leave a link to this model and the other versions in the description below so you can check them out. If you decide to buy through my link, I may earn a small commission, which helps support the channel at no extra cost to you. I'll also be making a full detailed review of this generator, covering every feature and everything you need to know about it, so make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss it. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a like. And if you have any questions or want me to show something specific in the next video, drop it in the comments. I'm always happy to help. Thanks for watching.